कल्पतरुः विकासं च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनन्तकोटि वैष्णववृन्द की जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। There are many practices leading to spiritual knowledge and transcendental bliss, including the ritualistic sacrifices recommended in the Vedas, the execution of austerities and pious duties, and the practice of mystic yoga. These all reward different results to their performers, but all these rewards appear to glitter only as long as one is not elevated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, there are many other practices which can lead to some spiritual knowledge and to transcendental bliss. Like there are ritualistic sacrifices which are recommended in Vedas, different kinds of austerities or pious duties, or the practice of various kinds of mystic yoga. So the results that the performer of such activities would get, they differ. Different kinds of results are achieved by doing these different kinds of performances or practices. But these all these rewards, they will glitter or they will look attractive to someone only as long as the person is not elevated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Because the reward or the bliss, the transcendental bliss that one gets when somebody is elevated to this platform of transcendental loving service of the Lord, nothing else in this, in all three worlds, nothing comes even close to it. Not even one drop of it can be understood by someone who is not in that platform. So, love of God is dormant in everyone, and it can be awakened from its dormant position by the execution of pure devotional service. So, love of God is there in each one of us, in everyone, even those who are atheists, who say they don't believe in God. Even in within them also, the dormant love for God is there. But only when somebody actually executes pure devotional service, serving Krishna with love and devotion in accordance to the instructions given by Krishna, then that person's the dormant love that is there within that person starts to awaken. And just as a person bitten by a serpent and fallen unconscious can be revived by smelling ammonia, Srila Prabhupada was also actually, he worked with pharmaceuticals and he would make many medicines. So Srila Prabhupada is very, very well versed in all these aspects. So here Prabhupada is giving this example that when a person is bitten by a snake, by a serpent, and falls unconscious, so if they smell or if they are made to smell ammonia, then their consciousness can be revived. So our dormant love for God, it is like that. That we are bitten by the serpent of Maya, illusion. We are in illusion that I am so and so. This is my mother, this is my father, this is my husband, this is my family, this is my child. This is all these things are what? These are all illusions. We have taken so many births, we had so many mothers, different mothers in different lifetimes, so many different fathers in different lifetimes. Not necessary that we had only human mothers and fathers. We had dog mothers because we were born as a dog. We had cat fathers. When we were born as a donkey, we had donkey parents. When we were born as a rat, we had rat parents. When we were worms, we had worm parents. When we were cockroaches, we had cockroach parents. So it may sound very absurd, but this is the truth. This is the fact. But only when somebody executes pure devotional service, that is like smelling ammonia, so they can be revived. Then the dormant love starts to awaken. After speaking in this way about pure devotional service, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to describe that service and its symptoms to Srila Rupa Goswami. That what is that? What is that service which can be called pure devotional service? What are they? And what are the symptoms that somebody is doing pure devotional service? What are the symptoms that somebody is progressing in spiritual life? What are the symptoms that somebody is feeling that ecstasy? So all this was described by by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Rupa Goswami. He explained that in pure devotional service, there can be no desire other than the desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. I will read that again. Mahaprabhu explained to Srila Rupa Goswami that in pure devotional service, there can be no desire other than the desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. That I want to do more pure devotional service. That is the only desire that one can have when they are practicing pure devotional service. In Krishna consciousness, there is no scope for worshipping any demigod or even any other form of Krishna. A devotee is always attracted by the two-handed form of Krishna, playing the flute, and all his pastimes in the two-handed form. They are not even interested in the four-handed Vishnu form. So here in Krishna consciousness, there is no scope for worshipping any demigod. So what to speak of demigods? There is no scope. Nobody gets attracted to any demigod. Why people get attracted to demigod? Because their desires are easily fulfilled there. If somebody goes to worship Lord Shiva. Why? Because I have asked for a nice girl. I want to get married to a nice girl, or want to get married to a nice boy, handsome boy, very rich, should have a nice bungalow, should have nice car, and should never give me any pain or any problem. If I want to sleep, he should cook himself. So we may have so many criteria. So people for getting these kind of material desires, or this is just an example, any kind of desire which is material. For that only they go to demigods, Lord Shiva or Mother Parvati or Mother Kali, Mother Durga, Lord Ganesha. Why? Just because when they ask for something, these demigods who are also busy serving Lord Krishna, they have been given this instruction by Lord Krishna that if anybody comes to you to ask for something, you give them. This is Lord Krishna's instruction to them. And they don't want to get disturbed, especially Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is constantly meditating on the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So Lord Shiva doesn't want to get disturbed. So as soon as somebody comes, he's called Ashutosh. Why? Because with very little puja, he gets pleased. Why? Because he doesn't want disturbances. You want this material thing, take it. Go, go. Now don't disturb me. I don't want your milk and coconut. You keep it for yourself. Lord Shiva is not interested in the coconut and the milk that people go to offer. 10 rupees milk and 10 rupees coconut. Lord Shiva, if he wants something, everything is there at his disposal. But he just wants pure devotional service. He doesn't want anything else. So in Krishna consciousness, there is no scope for worshipping any demigod or even any other form of Krishna, nor is there room for indulgence in speculative empiric philosophy or fruitive activities. What is speculative empiric philosophy? Just thinking that somebody who thinks we are very well learned, well read, very learned, very scholarly. I can understand these scriptures by myself. So they read by themselves and they speculate that, oh, it is said like this, but how can it be possible? So this may not be true. Just because it is written in this book, they consider scriptures to be just normal, ordinary books. So they don't. So with there's limited intelligence, they speculate things. Krishna is unlimited. Everything else is limited. So with limited intelligence, that person may be scholarly in this material world amongst the other donkeys. One donkey has little more intelligence. But what is the use? Ultimately, it is limited. With that limited intelligence, we can never understand the unlimited. So, that is indulgence in speculative empiric philosophy or fruitive activities. One should be free from all these contaminations. If it is written in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, I am God, just take it. Take the word of Lord Krishna because he is the supreme God. If he's saying something that don't do this, accept it. If he's saying do this, accept it. This is the sign of an intelligent person. If somebody thinks no, this is not sign of an intelligent person, you should question, then yes, we should question. But in what attitude, in what mood are we questioning? That is what matters. If we question in a mood of a challenge, in a challenging attitude, that means uh, we are not interested to understand something. We want to debate, we want to argue, we want to speculate. And in that case, we will not be able to really get the ultimate answer. Because if our attitude is not right, if our mood is not right, we will not achieve success in our endeavor. A devotee should accept only those things that are favorable for keeping his body and soul together, and reject those things that increase the demands of the body. So, devotee should not try to accumulate more and more things just for um, more luxury, for the benefit of the body, for sense gratification, but should only accept those things which are necessary to keep the body and soul together. As much as required, no problem. We need to eat properly, we need to eat first class food items, and we must exercise, we must take care of our health. If we are not well, we should not ignore the health. We should definitely take medicines if required. All these things are necessary to keep the body and soul together. What does that mean? If the body is not well, what service can we do? What devotional service can we will be able to do if the body is not well, if the mind is not well, if the people around us are not cooperating, coordinating, then how will we do any devotional service? So whatever is required, we must live in that way so that we are able to do devotional service. By only the bare necessities for bodily maintenance should be accepted. By making one's bodily necessities secondary, one can primarily devote his time to the cultivation of Krishna consciousness through the chanting of the holy names of God. So, most people in the material world, in fact, in this entire material world, from all the heavenly planets to the lower planets, everywhere everybody is trying to only fulfill their bodily needs, their bodily demands. But if somebody can keep these demands aside and then primarily focus their time to cultivate Krishna consciousness by chanting the holy names of the God, then what happens that, so when we are not too focused on how to uh, when we are not too focused on the body, only then we can focus on Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult when we are constantly thinking from a bodily perspective. I need this, I want that, I want to do that. That is my desire. Oh, they are doing so well. Let me also try to do this business. These kind of comparisons constantly in the material world, they are like hindrances. They will not allow us to progress in our Krishna consciousness because our mind is constantly focused external on the externals. So this is what we should understand from here, from this statement. And how we cultivate Krishna consciousness? By the chanting of the holy names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we'll continue reading tomorrow. Krishna willing. Thank you very much for your wonderful association. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय. All glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.